So we're at the end of day 2 at the annual Faith-Based Security Network Church Security Conference here in Cherry Hills Community Church in Denver, Colorado. And my buddy Don here has got a story to tell you, and I wanted to share it with you. Don?
Hi, I'm Don. This morning, as you said, this is day 2, and my wife and I, she's got the schedule figured out pretty much. Well, it's still coming kind of slow for me. I'm misreading it a lot. There were 2 classes that were available today. That was yours, and there was another one on. There was another class, and I was torn between which of those I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to both, and I'm searching, looking for when you're going to do a repeat, and it wasn't working out. So we just happened to be standing next to the doorway to the other class. My wife's on her way to her class, and she said, "I don't think he's here." And somebody else, one of the gals from the church, said, "No, that speaker isn't here today." Now, I'd been praying about this because they were both very important topics, and I was able to catch the other one. But I've been praying about that. I know that I'm here for a reason. I'm hearing and learning the things that I'm hearing and learning for a reason. It's according to God's plan. I can't see the end of it. But I knew I wanted to attend both classes. And I'd been praying, Lord, show me which way to go. Where do you want me? I went to the wrong choice first. There's no instructor there. So I thought, click. Thanks, Lord. Now I know where I'm going. And when I sat in, I think you were already started. I hadn't missed more than about a minute or so. And I noticed the room was packed. I didn't see any chairs at first. I finally saw a vacant one and grabbed it and drug it over and sat down. And all the time I'm listening to you, and as I was listening, I was starting to get the idea that I'm going to hear what God wants me to hear today. And it's going to be good stuff, and it's going to be important because I'm going to need this at some point in the future. And after 34 years as a police officer, I could identify with about every story you told. And I understood the necessity of the skills that you were stressing because I've been there and I've done that. And I've done it right and I've done it wrong. And I have been in the process, as we talked about, of doing it right when another officer or social worker sometimes would come in and basically turn on the blender and mess everything up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't smack them because, of course, we're professionals.
Right.
And when I'd been in the class, like I told you, for about maybe 5 minutes, I started feeling a current starting to draw me. Like you're in the river and current's very slowly, but it is taking you. And when you talked about the concept of I know what I know and what I know, I couldn't explain this to anybody, and I couldn't really convince anybody of it. And like I said, about 5 minutes into it, I knew we had to bring you out to Council Bluffs because knowing the incredible importance of the skills that you're teaching, especially for church security people, I knew I had to approach you, introduce myself, and start making plans to have you come to the Council Bluffs, Omaha area, because I could give you the names of probably 24 people almost off the top of my head who desperately need these skills.
Yeah.
And you were open to that. So I'm thinking, God, you got a plan here. You're going to, we may run into scheduling programs. I'm going to have to probably get some outside support financially for this, but normally I'd be a little concerned about the logistics and the finances and everything else. What do I have to do so I can make this happen?
Yeah.
And I'm not feeling that right now because, like we talked about earlier, God's got this. He brought us together for a reason today, and he's made clear the importance of what you teach, and he's made clear to me the extreme need for this knowledge and for these skills in this line of work. In fact, I'd like to start lighting up police departments too and having you speak to them, because you've really hit on something that God's hand is evident on you.
I really appreciate that, and that's actually one of the things I comment to people, that we do not know the role we play in God's plan for someone else. And for example, me being here today this week, I would not have been here if in 2016 someone at my own church had not asked me to do a conflict de-escalation class, because I was well on my way into another career field. But it was while putting that class together, I was suddenly hit with an overwhelming calling, an urge, a pull, a tug to go in this direction, where I try to help church staff and volunteers more effectively and successfully deal with some of the situations they deal with. And this is one of those examples where I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know what, I can look back now and see where the Lord lined things up so that I would be here this week to talk to Dawn, and everything is continuing to fall into place. And but we can at least recognize God's hand in this. And I think that's probably the most important thing. Just recognize God's hand, God's moving, and just trust that He's got a plan.
I came to a kind of a sudden realization not long after I retired and I started getting more involved in chaplaincy. I came to realize that those 34 years of wearing a badge, that was just training for what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But after spending time in that class, I realized, John, I'm still in training. Thank you.
Yeah. And there you go, folks. God's got a plan for you. It may not sometimes feel like it, seem like it, sound like it. Take a deep breath, ride with it, and just trust the Lord's going to take you where you need to go.
Amen.
Right. Thanks, Don.
That was fun.